As indicated earlier, the NLC were caretakers, and therefore they put in place measures to return the country into civilian rule within the shortest possible time. And so to this end, on November 15, 1966, the NLC appointed a 16-member constitutional commission under the chairmanship of Chief Justice Akufo Addo, the then Chief Justice, to draft a constitution for the country. The political party's decree of April 1969 announced the lifting of the ban on the formation of political parties from May 1st, 1969. August 29, 1969 was fixed as the date for the general election, and September 30th, 1969 as the date by which powers would be handed to an elected government. With the lifting of the ban on the formation of political parties, many political parties were formed in the country. In the end, 5 political parties survived the campaign and contested the election. These were the Progress Party (PP), led by K.A Busia, the National Alliance of Liberals (NAL), also led by K.A Busia, the All People's Republican Party (APRP), led by PKK Kwedu, the People's Action Party (PAP), led by Imoro Ayana, and finally the United Nationalist Party (UNP), led by Dr. H.S. Banama. There were 140 seats to be contested. The election took place as scheduled on 29th August 1969, and the results came as a surprise to everybody. The Progress Party of Dr. K.A Busia gained a landslide victory by winning 105 of the seats. The National Alliance of Liberals, led by Gbedema, also won 29 of the seats. On 3rd September, Dr. Busia, the leader of the Progress Party, was sworn in as the Prime Minister of the Second Republic of Ghana. And that is what you find on your screen. It is important to note that in the 1969 election, the National Liberation Council banned the CPP from contesting in the election, and so the CPP was not represented in the 1969 election, and so members of the CPP broke away from the CPP and formed their own government, especially K.A. Busia, who formed the National Alliance of Liberals. Now, the Second Republic was inaugurated at the Independence Square on October 1st, 1969, with Dr. Kofi Busia as the Prime Minister. The video in your shot is a retired Chief Justice, Edward Akufo Addo, who was one of the Big Six, was elected as the President and ceremonial head of state. This was as a result of the 1969 Constitution, which provided for a ceremonial president as head of state and a prime minister who was the chief executive officer. And so that is what you find in your screen, the inauguration of the Second Republic, and Edward Akufo Addo being sworn in as the President of the Republic of Ghana. So after these ceremonies, a state banquet was organized to inaugurate the Second Republic, to celebrate the achievement of the country after the overthrow of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in 1966, and that is 2 to 3 years ago. And so you find guests from even other countries at a dinner party to actually celebrate the success of the country at this point. So the next thing to do after the inauguration service was the swearing in of civilian government ministers in Ghana, led by Busia. Take note of the presence of the army, the NLC, Afrifa, Amankwa Afrifa, in there. You could see that the army, the National Liberation Council, was part of the process all throughout, even though this election was supposed to be a civilian election, a democratic one. But you can find the presence of the army all around them. You can see Major General A.A. Afrifa giving out the certificate to these newly appointed ministers in the Republic. Did you see Kufuor? Yeah, Kufuor came in there. If you saw Kufuor over there. In April 1970, a statue of Lieutenant General Emmanuel Kutuka was unveiled at the Kutuka International Airport. The airport was named after him. Now, let me remind you, in case you have forgotten, Kutuka was killed during the abortive coup led by the Operation Jetai boys. And in that coup, even though the coup was abolished, was not successful, Emmanuel Kutuka died in that coup, and so a statue was unveiled in 1970 by the civilian government, the Progress Party, to actually celebrate this gallant soldier who was instrumental in the overthrow of the first Republic of Ghana. And the question I ask is that is it that the PP or the Progress Party actually supported the coup against Nkrumah, killing or overthrowing a civilian elected president, and they had to celebrate this man who overthrew a legitimate government, which was voted by the people. And that's that statue of Emmanuel Kutuka. In 1972, 3 years after the inauguration of the Second Republic, Colonel Ignatius Kutu Acheampong overthrew the Progress Party led by K.A Busia and established the National Redemption Council. Let's take and listen to why he overthrew the Progress Party, PP.
The government is a military government which will rule with advice from certain eminent civilians in the country. I would like to emphasize immediately that this coup was not initiated by the armed forces merely to satisfy our selfish ends. As I said in my earlier broadcasts, the takeover was occasioned principally by the hypocrisy of the Busia regime, coupled with the inefficient management by that regime of our economy. The malpractices which existed before the 1966 coup are still with us, and there was no prospect of seeing an end of them. Matters got steadily worse, especially in the economic field, and it became obvious that the Busia government had no clue as to how to arrest the position. Yes. In simple terms, we are almost like a nation at war without an external enemy. The National Redemption Council has therefore decided to place the economy of Ghana on a war footing. We are soldiers. We know one way of dealing with crisis situations, and that is action. I want to assure the nation that we shall spare no effort, and no sacrifice will be too great for us in this gigantic task of winning a great economic war.
This was an interview granted by K.A Busia after his overthrow in 1972 by Colonel Ignatius Kutu Acheampong. At the time of the coup, K.A Busia was not in the country. He was in London for medical checkup, and he got the news, as it was in the case of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Abusia got the news that he had been overthrown, and so the press in London decided to interact with him and ask him about his way forward after the coup. It is also important to note that at this time or period, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was still in exile. He had not returned to Ghana after he was overthrown in 1966. And so in 1972, when he heard that Busia had been overthrown, he actually wrote a letter to Busia, either advising him or anything of that sort. You can check out in my other videos. I have the letter, a copy of the letter. You can read it for yourself, and it is so interesting. After some few months after the overthrow of Busia, Kwame Nkrumah died.
I am the elected head of the government of Ghana. There has not been an election. There has only been an adventure by a small band of the military people stationed in Accra.
Your information at the moment then is that this coup has not been successful?
My information is that the coup hasn't got nationwide support.
Do you know the Lieutenant Colonel who has led this coup?
Only by name.
The coup leaders have accused you of malpractices and arbitrary arrests. What do you say to that?
There has not been a single person detained in the 2 years that I have been in office. And these preposterous charges, I think anybody in Ghana who knows me knows the truth and knows this is senseless nonsense.
What are you going to do now? Are you going to fly back to Accra?
I am not saying what I'm going to do, except that I will not let my people down, and they will soon know my next move.
Do you feel there's any chance at all that this military coup will in the end be successful or not?
I have no doubt that it will fail.
Do you feel very depressed tonight?
I'm sad. I'm sad because I can think of the tragedy this would be for Africa, and particularly for Ghana. And that, of course, makes me sad. But I'm not depressed in the sense that I have no faith or confidence in eventual victory. We shall win through.
Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah died on the 27th of April 1972 in Romania, and Nkrumah had been in exile since 1969, and so because of that, the Guinea government where Nkrumah lived was not in good relation with the Ghanaian government, and therefore Nkrumah's funeral was held in Guinea, and that is what you find on your screen. When he was in exile in Guinea, he became a co-president with Sékou Touré, and so Nkrumah was still a president in Guinea, and so the people of Guinea gave Nkrumah a state burial. So Nkrumah's first funeral was not held in Ghana, but it was done outside the country in Guinea.
In fine, we have gathered here to set forth his brilliant light, to dispel darkness in the lives of all who are oppressed, suppressed, and distressed by racial discrimination, segregation, and colonialism, and to mourn the loss of a fallen hero who was an indefatigable and gallant, indomitable fighter for the great cause of Africa. Honneur! Gloire! Victoire! Vive la Révolution!
This video is actually in parts. I am doing a full video, a full documentary, as you have seen already, from 1957 up to 1992. And so this is the first part of the video, and I hope you enjoyed the footages over there. I'll be doing the next parts, and that's the Second Republic, Third Republic, as well as the Fourth Republic, right from the CPP to the NLC, to the PPP, the PP, to the NRC, to the SMC1, SMC2, to the AFRC, PNDC, up until the Fourth Republic. So there are a lot for you to enjoy from this video. I know it's going to be a very long video, so I've decided to do it in parts, and this is the first part. Do not forget to subscribe, share our links to people that you think may be interested in the video, and have a nice day, and thank you for watching.